Just swing the club from side to side. Notice I'm not doing that, because that's what we'd associate with the swing, but it's not really the swing. This is the swing. So you can see it's quite a different movement, but it's been initiated here at this end of the club, not this end. This end is driving the action. If you're struggling, grip the club lower down and create some space between the forearm and the handle so it's got some clearance, it's got space to move through. And without twisting the head, just flail the club from side to side. There's no rotation, side to side. Notice the butt end of the golf club leads the action. So it's like a snake. And you can appreciate if I was to stop in time where I'd expect to strike a golf ball, look at the orientation of the club. It's already starting to take shape, but this is a very different space for a lot of us in relation to where we normally swing. So there's a whole host of movements. There's a sequence taking place that enables us to swing the club into this space and release it freely, because the wrists are only the end of the chain. So what we're doing first is heightening our sense of awareness for the wrists. Once we've got the flail, we can then start to explore the infinity drill. So that's just making an infinity shape with the club head, still with the trail hand, and in a clockwise direction in terms of swinging the club to the target. So here the club's swinging to the target in a clockwise direction. Sometimes we see people do this, and that's okay. But it's very interesting because that kind of demonstrates their recognition here for how they sense the club moving through the ball. And this is out to in. They're recognising the club moving through impact across the ball to the left, which is fairly typical of a swing that's driven from the upper body with an early rotation of the body and an early release. So this might feel quite different, going what might be considered to be into out and letting the club rotate, because you might find the club wants to keep going around here, and your wrist might go into an extreme flexion, and that's because we're not recognising rotation about the shaft. So we've got to be able to let the club rotate whilst continuing on that path, and then we bring it round to redirect it. So we're in control of the route the club's taking. We're not compromised with our wrist action when we attempt to close the face. In doing so, suddenly it throws the club off track and we're getting a movement that we're kind of not intending. We intend to swing the club out there and then bring it round. So do you actually have control of your wrist motion? And there's a lag to this movement. Can you see how the handle really does precede the motion of the club head? So while the club head's lagging, we're influencing the direction it's going and the rotation. In fact, we're in control. On the way back, change of direction on the way through. And this is just the start to recognising what we can do with a golf club. We've got the capability, we've got all these movements available, but do we recognise them? Have we got that self-awareness? So if you're struggling to rotate the face, just simply close the club face to the ground. So your palm will be facing to the floor. And this is that rotation we're looking for. We just want it in that direction. So then simply swing the club back, let it open, and let it close. And now we've got this rotation of the shaft, which isn't compromising the direction the club's swinging. That's now determined by me. Now, once you've got a feel for this, let's put both hands on and see if we can do the infinity drill again. And there might be some limitation. You might find it's not quite as easy. And that might be because you're not aware of how the left wrist plays its role in all of this. Because rotating the club face with the left hand will feel very different to rotating the club face with the right, because it's the opposite action. That's a pronation, this is a supination. So let's explore supination with our lead hand. So what we do is we take the club in our lead hand and then we swing it back and forth in this direction, straight ahead. in a line. Feel the arc up and down at the side of the body. And can you rotate the club face so it's pointed at the ground whilst maintaining the direction of the arc? Because once you've got this ability to supinate the lead arm, you can take the club wherever you like and close the face. So I could swing over there towards you, I could swing to the right, to the left. So what I'm not compromising now is the path the club's swinging on. Because if you recognise rotation of the club face with extension and flexion, your club's going to deviate. So this exercise shows it up straight away because your club will want to go over there. So you're not really rotating the club in the most efficient way about the shaft. If you're wanting to create this natural sequence where you're letting the levers go without any manipulation. We're just freeing up the wrists, which are essentially a free hinge, a universal hinge. So now let's go back to what it feels like to do the infinity exercise. And now the rotation is allowing the club to close whilst maintaining its direction. Then we can bring the club around and then back out again. Once we've got that, we can play a few shots if we like and explore using the outward part of the infinity shape. So essentially that's an into-out swing, and we're letting the club face rotate. So the club's not deviating off line. Suddenly I'm getting an unwanted path, and if I'm closing my face to that path, I could be getting pulls. But this method might close the face slightly, but it also takes a long time because look how far the club's got to travel just to close the face a small amount, as opposed to doing this and then doing this. Whereas this will take the path to the left as a right-hander with a face that's closing, but it might not be closed. Sometimes it's going to be closed and you'll get a pull, sometimes it might not be closed in time. It needs so much distance to cover to actually square up that you get the push fades, the cut shots, and the slices even with the driver. So this is going to help close that face to that path.